let's start by thinking about what's happening in the world at a macro level, because the next era of AI is here. And if you think about what's happening today, we're moving from 2.5 years ago when we had that seminal moment in November of 2020 when ChatGPT arrived. We had this kind of notion of chatbots that intelligently answered our questions. And it felt like magic. And we're moving from that era to now where all of us are used to that, to an era where agents are autonomously going to be able to conduct tasks and jobs on behalf of humans. And this is going to have a profound set of implications in the world that all of us will actually get affected by, and all of us will have an opportunity to really make a tremendous amount of positive light with. One of the big areas, though, that's going to be fundamentally impacted by this is the workforce. And today, 100% of the workforce that we actually participate in is humans. What we're going to have is a tremendous amount of augmentation to this workforce with agents, with applications, with robots, with humanoids that will actually now participate along with the workforce that we have. And so what it does is it actually massively compounds the capacity of throughput that we can have. So 8 billion humans will feel like we have the throughput capacity of 80 billion humans. But what this is going to have is a fundamental set of implications on the underlying infrastructure that's going to be needed to power this movement. And it's essentially going to have massive shifts in architectures. Like Chuck mentioned, there's going to be a shift in the architecture where it's not just going to be around public clouds. You'll actually have a good combination of public cloud and private cloud, because there's a reacceleration, especially with inferencing workloads, where organizations want to have their own private cloud data center capacity built out for AI. Number two, AI is fundamentally going to be network constrained. And so we need to make sure that we actually don't have this be bandwidth constrained. It's also going to be compute constrained, and it's going to be power constrained. And three is safety and security is going to be profoundly important in this era, because if we don't trust AI, we're not going to use AI. And so the question you might ask is, so what is Cisco focused on as we go through this entire movement, and why is it that we're going through this entire movement? One of the big reasons that this is important is because if you start to look at the world, there's only going to be two kinds of companies in the world. There's going to be companies that are extremely dexterous with the use of AI, and then there are going to be companies that really struggle for relevance. And we want to make sure that we can actually help you be the company in the first category by providing all the necessary infrastructure, safety, and security. And so what we've done, and we've thought long and hard about this, is what should Cisco uniquely focus on that's going to help you take advantage of this movement? And so there's three particular areas. The first one, like Chuck mentioned, is we want to make sure that we can provide you a world-class set of infrastructure for connectivity, as well as for safety and security for this AI-ready data center build-out that's happening. We'll talk a lot more about that. The second area, and that's where, by the way, all the digital workers are going to live, right? The second area is making sure that we future-proof workplaces where all of us work, whether it be a campus, whether it be a branch, whether it be an office, whether it be a car, what have you. And then the third, and those two will need to collaborate with one another. So we need to make sure that we have an underlying substrate of global connectivity. And third is we have to make sure that this infrastructure is resilient, so that if there is an outage, you're able to get back up as fast as possible. So those are the kind of three core areas that we're going to be focusing on. We have a ton of innovation in each one of those three areas that we'll share with you. And all of this is going to be powered by a foundation of AI. Now, the question that you might ask is, what is unique about Cisco as we do this? What specifically are we doing that only Cisco can bring to the table? And there's three things that we can think about that are very unique and are structural advantages for Cisco. The first one is this notion of providing a platform advantage. And what I mean by a platform advantage is we have a tremendous breadth of capabilities of technology within our portfolio. But unless they all work in harmony with one another, you don't really get the most amount of value from it. But if you can actually reduce the marginal cost of ingestion with every single new technology that you buy from Cisco, and every single technology that you buy doesn't just add value by itself, but it also actually compounds value on things that you already own, what we've done is created a very, very advantageous platform advantage for you. So that's number one. Number two, like Chuck mentioned, is this notion of silicon. We build our own custom silicon ASICs for the network. Why is that important? First, it actually gives you diversity so that you have choice, and you don't have vendor lock-in by just having a single provider for silicon. But the other thing that's actually really important is the way in which we've built out our silicon, the architecture that we've used to build it out, has programmability. And what that means is every single time that you want to support a new kind of use case, we don't have to go out and etch it into silicon and do a tape out of silicon every single time. What you can do is make sure that you have programmability so that you can program the silicon and the cycle times compress and how you might be able to have a new use case afforded to you by that same chip. And that actually creates a huge amount of acceleration of innovation, because in addition to having a full top-to-bottom integration from the silicon to the network, to the security, to the models, to the applications, what we're also able to do is make the silicon itself programmable, right? And this is one area that if you do catch Martin, he's probably got the best jacket in this audience of anyone, and the best chip in his back pocket. Make sure you talk to him. And then the third one is we need to make sure that AI is not an afterthought, but a foundational principle of how we build products, a foundational principle of how we operate. So those are the three key areas of structural advantage.